Okay, I think we should be just about set up. Alright, so we're going to be doing a little bit of Risk of Rain 2 today. Going to try and do it a little bit differently as, well, I've pretty thoroughly played through this game at this point. Figure mix things up a bit and have some audience input or randomized inputs on what we end up doing, either the difficulty mode, the character, mutators, and what decisions we make partway through the run. Um, Anyone not familiar with Risk of Rain? The first game, the entire premise was your ship flying through space, suddenly something from a planet nearby shoots you down, you crash, and every single living thing on the planet seems to want you dead. This is the follow up where afterwards another ship hears their distress beacon. So let's just get that up now. We'll get a little bit of a primer with the opening cutscene as well. And I know last time there were some notes about the audio, so if any volume needs to be upped or down, just let me know. There aren't any voices this time around like there were in Star Trek Online. It's mostly just going to be roars, explosions, and screams. So, see how that goes. Once it decides to load, that is. Okay, there we go. Hello, Okala. The contact light was the ship we were on last time. I'm just gonna be asking. Just put anything your thing in the chat. If I was more professional, I might have a poll set up, but I haven't quite figured that one out yet. So we'll just make do. Alrighty. So, main thing to know about the game, much like the other game, every single living thing on this planet wants you dead. So you need to make sure you can get off the planet while not being dead. But you get to find all these nice goodies that are scattered around from either items that were already on there or research or stuff like that that help you do it, usually by horrifically mutating you. But end goal is get off the planet. So the first thing we have to pick is our character. So we've got most of these, normally you get them by unlocking them through the game. I've already been through pretty much all of that, which is why we're going to let the audience pick which one we want to go with. But I'll give a little overview of the different types of characters. First up is the Commando, probably the simplest class. Just very good at putting a lot of bullets, a lot of rapid fire. He's got a dodge roll and a piercing thing, so fairly simple. You got the Huntress. She's more mobility focused. She is the only class in the game that can keep firing while running. Everybody else can only be walking when they shoot. Most of her abilities are auto aim, and then she can teleport around to a limited extent. So she's good about strafing. Got the Bandit. He's mostly around sort of backstabs, crit hits, and things like that. Normally he's got a little coach gun that he can shoot, but he also can turn invisible, and then if he backstabs enemies, it's a guaranteed crit hit, and it will also cause bleeding. And his ultimate ability is he pulls out a pistol, and if it kills an enemy, he resets all of his cooldowns and is able to, including its own cooldown, and can kind of just keep up the momentum that way. He does have an alternate version of that where it just gets stronger each time it kills an enemy for the rest of the stage. And we have Multi. Multi's whole thing is he's a robot, normally slow, but he can swap between two modes, so he has two different modes of fire that you can pick from a list. And instead of having an ultimate skill, he just swaps out. So, like, you could have just the nail gun, which fires really quickly, or you could have the scrap launcher, which basically fires rockets, rebar, or power saws, and he can also have two equipable items, and the only character that can do that, because each mode has its own slot for it. Otherwise, he can just, while he's normally slow, he can just turn on his wheels and rush at something, but he doesn't have a lot of control when he does that. Got the Engineer. They're all about hunkering down in turrets, so they fire bombs, mines, bubble shields in the turrets. And the turrets, they also get a copy of any item you pick up, so they end up being able to get stronger as time goes on as well. Although you do have to redeploy them once you get an item, because they only have whatever items were on them when you put them down. Next up we have the Artificer. Basically a techno mage. Their thing's a lot of AoEs, elemental things that are able to basically fly, but not quite. Throw up ice walls, all sorts of things like that. Mercenary is the primary melee class of the group. They have no range attacks at all. They are only using their sword, but they are very good at being mobile and using different forms of invincibility, such as they can do the regular attack. They can do a thing where they blink around and slash a whole bunch of people at once while they're invisible. And they have a dash move they can chain up to 3 times and go through multiple enemies at once. We have Rex. He is literally a botany robot that took care of a plant that grew past his programming. His main thing is sort of health steal. Some of his own abilities drain his own health to fire, but he can equally, all of his attacks, get health off of other enemies. We have the Loader, the other main melee class. She's not exclusively melee. She can throw out a drone, and she does either just swinging punches to get a shield up, or this big, heavy, sort of falcon punch thing that pierces enemies. The main thing, though, is she is very mobile because she's basically Spider-Man. She has a grappling hook she can fire and swing off of all the different parts of the environment. We have Acrid, little escape science experiment. He likes his damage over time and his disease and spreading that around. Otherwise, he jumps around. We've got the Captain. You saw him in the cutscene. He has a little shotgun, but most of his stuff he lets other things handle it for him, such as he's got this little drone that shoots projectiles that are coming at him out of the sky. He's got a taser, and he can call things down from the ship, either a cannon shot from the ship to hit enemies, or he can call down sort of like relief pods that either heal you, shock enemies, buy an item for free, show things on the map, that kind of thing. Although you can only drop those once per map. And then the last two are the DLC ones added with the Survivor of the Void. Got the Railgunner. She's basically a sniper. She does not have crit hits at all. Most characters, they have a small chance at crit hits, but there are items that can boost it. She cannot critically hit by default. All crit chance instead gets turned into hit damage, but she can aim for weak spots, and anything that hits that is guaranteed to do the same amount of damage a crit would. So she can pierce enemies. She can throw down a little sort of concussion mine to throw herself and enemies around, and her ult is basically overcharging her sniper rifle for a bunch of damage. but the trade-off is that it makes all of her weapons offline for 5 seconds. And then lastly, we have Void Fiend. Basically a Void Mutant who he swaps between two different modes where he's constantly building up corruption. When he's non-corrupted, he mainly focuses on long-range stuff, charge shots, and a weird teleport that has a trajectory you can use to move around. And he can, when his corruption's high enough, he can try and disperse it to get some health back. But when it goes completely full, he instead turns to a close-range thing where instead of his long-range sniper shot, it turns into this big, wide, continuous beam he can hold down. His charge shot that he had before turns into a little lob grenade launcher, and he just sort of jumps forward. And in that mode, he does the opposite, where he can take some of his health away to try and keep his corruption mode up. Alright, so with that, does anybody have any preference on which character we want to try and do for this run? Alright, we got Loader or Huntress. Okali, you have any preference? Just really quickly check over here for that. While we wait on that, just look over the Loader and the Huntress just a bit more specifically. Again, Huntress, she has an auto-aim bow. She has a glaive that bounces between multiple... bounces between multiple enemies, which gets stronger each time it bounces. She's got her blink, and she's got her arrow rain, where she basically teleports up and then does this wide AoE where arrows rain down. But her modes also have a secondary version, so you usually unlock these by doing certain achievements, but she's got her strafe one, or she can do flurry, where instead of the auto lock on, she fires multiple arrows at once, but they do less damage individually. She has phase blink, which she can do 3 times instead of 1. It has a shorter cooldown, but she can't go straight up like she can do with the main one. And lastly, she's got her ballista, where instead of teleporting up, she goes backwards and then fires 3 big bolts instead of a continuous rain of arrows down. She also has 2 different skins, the red or the white one. And Loader for a similar thing. Her punch is default, that's just, she punches enemies, and each time she does, she generates a small shield. But her main thing is she's got her grappling fist, which is the sort of Spider-Man one, or she's got the spiked fist, which she can't use as much for enemies, or for environment, but she can use it for enemies, where she pulls either herself towards an enemy or an enemy towards her, and will stun them. Her charge gauntlet is basically, again, the big Falcon Punch style. She charges it up, hits enemies, and can do a bunch of damage that way. Or she can do a single target Thunder Gauntlet, which does a shock in a cone, and instead of piercing through enemies. And her special, normally she throws out this little pylon that floats in the air that will electrify enemies around it, but she can also use it as a grappling point. Or she can do Thunder Slam, where she just does a big electric AoE in an area around her to get some pressure off her. And she similarly has 2 different outfits, her default and her classic, which is the one she had from Risk of Rain 1. So between those, any preference between the Huntress and the Loader, and any skill differences? Loader, Falcon, Grapple Punch, AoE, alright. And, alrighty, next up, we've got 3 different difficulty modes. The main way difficulty works in Risk of Rain is there's a timer going, and the longer you wait in it, the more the difficulty ramps up. You will get a sort of default difficulty increase each map you go, but as it hits certain times, certain time thresholds, it'll increase the difficulty from like easy, medium, hard, and then if you get all the way up to like the highest, it's just laughing ha 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 over and over and over again. It also comes with your default health regeneration rate. So like at Drizzle, that's the lowest one. You get a bunch of health regen, bunch of damage reduction, and it scales slower. Rainstorm default, and Maelstrom, where your health regeneration is massively scaled down, and the difficulty scales up where you start. It's about every 3 minutes, I want to say, that it goes from one difficulty level to another. So, any preference between those? Drizzle? Alrighty. Okay. Last thing, there are artifacts that have modifiers. Do we want to just go with default, or do we want to turn some of these on? And if we do, I can go over what the different effects are. Default for first time? Alrighty. In that case, we can get ready. The main choices otherwise that pop up, there are certain sections where we can choose which type of map we want to go to. I'll let you know when that happens, but otherwise, let's get started. Alright, so yeah, in the top right corner you can see there, right now we're still on easy, and it's got the countdown timer. So I'll just show off some of the moves that she's got while we wait for some enemies to start showing up. Or we can have a volunteer. Her default attack is just, good old swinging at them. In doing so, she gets a little bit of a shield generated on her HP as long as she continuously hits them. For her secondary, she's got that grappling hook. Lets her swing around. And that is actually more than just getting around. For some of your attacks, depending on how much momentum you build up, they'll do bonus damage. So, like, if you were to hit something like a tree here, or a boss, or other enemies and swing around, you could do things like with the charge-up punch like we're about to do now, if I didn't miss. It's okay, we got this golem here, we'll try it on. Alrighty, so that took a big chunk of his health out. And a lot more than just our general attack does. As for the shockwave, I've actually never used it, so we're going to find out how it works now. Yeah, that's pretty effective. Alright, so each time we kill enemies, we get a load of gold that's in the top left corner. We use those to unlock chests, which have items in them that usually make us stronger. So right now we got a topaz brooch, which actually works very well, because the same way that when she punches she gets a barrier, this one lets her get that same barrier every time she kills an enemy, so... assuming I don't miss. There we go. Now, the only downside with going with Shockwave is I can't throw down the turret and just leave it behind to pick off enemies, but it's still good for knocking other enemies back. So besides the chests, although I will get this chest here and see what we get. Okay, Transfusion. Transfusion's pretty good because it boosts our max HP the more enemies we kill. Oop. Good. Get some of these guys here. Yeah, those little red dots that fly out of them. That's the HP increase. But besides chests, we also have drones. This one looks like a first aid drone. You can find gun drones, missile drones, flamethrowers, and healing drones. They will just sort of follow you around as long as they're up. They can be destroyed by enemies, but as long as you get them up before you go to the next map, usually for an increased cost, you can get them back up off the ground. Alright, we also have these various shrines that do effects. This one is called the Shrine of the Mountain. If I activate it, it will make it so that 2 bosses spawn instead of 1. Obviously, harder boss fight, but you also get 2 items. And yes, actually, there is fall damage for most characters, except the loader, because her whole thing is using the grappling hook and flying around. It would be a little counterproductive if she didn't have no fall damage, which funnily enough, makes it where there's one of the modifiers you can get that I mentioned at the start is it massively increases fall damage. It has literally no effect on her, so you can very easily win a run with that one if you're using her. Some of these aren't all chests. You also have these ones where you pick of 3. Although sometimes they'll just have a question mark and not tell what item you get out of it. For this one, I'm going to go with the first aid kit. Med kit, sorry. Basically, if you get hit by anything, after a certain amount of seconds of not being hit, you will get an amount of HP back. That is sort of flat scaling. The more you have of them, the more HP you get back. There's a gunner drone. And let's see what we got on this one. Now, after the main goal we're looking for is the teleporter. Usually you can tell where it is because there will be red particles floating around it. But otherwise you have to kind of search around for it. Nope. Oh yeah. Most enemies just have their regular effects, but if you see any that look different from their compatriots, like that beetle there had ice growing out of it, there are specials that have special abilities. The ice ones, they explode into a big ice thing when they die. Electrical ones leave little electric bombs when they hit you. Flaming ones leave fire. There's ones that heal their allies, etc. I'm going to go for gasoline here, just to help with my crowd control, where when I kill an enemy, they will explode into fire that sets everybody else that's near enough to them on fire as well. And that can cause a chain reaction, but right now there's not enough enemies bunched up around to pull that off. But maybe next time. Before we find the teleporter, by the way... oh, there it is. We'll get that once we've gotten some of the other items in here. Do we want to try and do the Shrine of the Mountain, or no? I'm going to go with the stun grenade here. I have a chance to stun enemies when I hit them. Doesn't matter on one-shots like that, but for bigger enemies it can help. Yeah, there's one. That one there was an electrical one, which is why that little explosion just came off me. Yep. Will-o'-the-wisp. Kind of similar to the gasoline, except they just drop a bomb. But they will both go off, so that helps if you're dealing with multiple enemies at once. Helps to thin out the horde. Alright, we are going to go with Shrine of the Mountains. Let's grab that. Luckily, again, since we're on Drizzle, we've got plenty of time before it goes over to medium, so we're not in too much of a rush. But enemies will spawn infinitely until we go to the next area. You generally don't want you to feel too comfortable at any one point in which you're moving. So yeah, all 3 of these are... So we've got a Mocha, which speeds up our movement and attack speed. It's either extra clip or extra magazine, which lets in my case, my grappling hook, I get an extra charge of it. And then there's the mystery item. I'm going to go with the extra backup magazine, that's what it's called. Because that'll let me use my grappling hook more often. That same item applies to everybody else's utility skill. Alright, I think we've about cleared it out, so let's head over to the teleporter. Now the teleporters, you both have to defeat the boss, and then also you have a time limit you have to wait out. So if you kill the boss too quickly, you'll still have to wait, and vice versa. If you wait the timer out, you still have to kill the boss. Beetle Queens, they like summoning different beetles. We've already seen the regular ones that are on the ground. They'll also spawn these flying ones that can slow their enemies down, as well as the Beetle Guard, which are those bigger ones that are coming at me right now. Although, the upside to having a bunch of other enemies around is you can trigger their death effects like the gasoline and use them on the boss. And the other thing is you have to stay inside the radius of the teleporter. Kind of like if you ever played Deep Rock Galactic, the refueling ones where you have to stay within the radius to upload the coordinates. That way you can't just run away. You can leave it, but it means the timer doesn't continue as long as you're out of it. And enemies will keep spawning until it's done as well. While we're waiting on that, another thing that popped up is I should probably get those items that we got there. So yeah, we got 2 of the same item. It's the Rose Buckler. What that does is, whenever you're sprinting, you take less damage. Not super useful on this character. It's really good on the Huntress, though, because she's able to run while doing everything. Alright. One last thing before we go through the teleporter. I missed it while we were up here, but we saw it when we were fighting. What we have here is a Void Shrine. Void Shrines don't take money, but they'll take half your health to open them, and they'll have what are called corrupted items. They're basically versions of regular items, but with different effects, which will corrupt any future item you get of that to do the same thing. So, like, if you had... There's an item called Ukulele, where when you use it, you make electricity that bounces between enemies. The corrupted Ukulele, I forget the name of it, but what that one does is instead it gives you a chance to cause lightning to strike the same enemy you hit multiple times. You want to go for this, or are we going to just go to the next area? Alrighty. We'll leave corrupted items for another day. Yeah, if you only have the base game, those aren't a thing you have to worry about, but they do come with, again, the Survivors of the Void DLC. Alrighty. So should be getting a couple new enemies this time, like those beetle guards we fought before. There's a regular enemy in here. This is a secret you can access. Unfortunately, I don't believe I can do it in single player with this character. With Engineer I could, but there are 2 pressure plates you can find, and as long as you've got somebody on both, it'll open the gate, and you can get a guaranteed item that way. But conversely, we do not want to go down there. That's just pain. We also don't want to go outside the bounds of this area, because if we do, we start getting... What we usually do, start getting attacked. There it goes. Yeah. Yeah, the tar here is alive and it likes to eat things, so it's all throughout the area there. And it might be the boss we fight. It's also why we have these little containers around here filled with tar, which it will hurt us and slow us down, but it'll also do the same thing to any enemies that are hit by it. I do need some money for some of these chests, because they do go up in cost as you get deeper in. Same thing with these drones. That looks like a missile drone. There's one of the healing ones, and an ice one. Yeah, I want to get rid of them. These guys are very obnoxious when they show up when you're fighting the boss. Like, no, I just did that damage. Alrighty. Let's see, what do we got in here? Bigger chests are... Another Rose Buckler. Not great game. But yeah, bigger chests usually guarantee at least a green quality item. These are lunar coins. Might not have to deal with them quite yet, but lunar items are basically their positive and negative attribute items. So it's like, oh yeah, you'll do 10% more damage. Sorry, you'll do like 50% more damage, but your health, your max health is permanently reduced by 50%. And not as in like, oh, 50% from where it is now. It's like, oh, whatever your max health will be, it will always be only 50% of that. But there are other ones that are just like, oh, your item will have a shorter cooldown, but it will always automatically trigger once that cooldown comes around, kind of thing, as opposed to letting you choose when to get it. We don't actually have an usable item yet. One of these chests might have it. Those are the orange items, which can range anywhere from, like, oh, get a bunch of healing, get a huge boost to your defense, fire a whole bunch of missiles, or grow wings and be able to fly. Okay, just a little bit more money. The drone got it for me. Okay, rusted key. Not useful this map, but the next map there will be a lockbox I can pick up that'll have an item in it. It's basically a free chest. Although the key does get consumed when you pick that up. Alright. Going. We have tipped over to medium, so things are a little bit stronger as they spawn, and they're going to spawn more frequently. Bison steak, just a flat HP buff. Nothing wrong with that. You can also, later on, as we got here, chests of different colors will sometimes specify what type they are. Green, obviously, is like healing, defense, and health. Red is usually offense. Purple is utility. Alright, we got another choice of chest. The hoof, and the topaz. I'm going to go with the hoof, because our actual movement speed outside of the grappling hook is kind of slow. But this one, it increases your speed by doing as you do. Just chop off your leg and replace it with the goat one. Alright. I'm going to check one thing before I go to the teleporter for this one. Unfortunately, without a ranged attack, these guys are the bane of my existence. Oh, hello. Oh, another missile drone and another chest. Alright. Hello? Oh, there they are. Let's say where are the enemies. Ah. Sadly, enemies do not have friendly fire. At least not by default. One of the mutators you can get makes it so that's the case. Though it turns on friendly fire for everybody, and not just like your allies, but like your own AoEs will do damage to you, so use that one carefully. Soldier syringe, just makes your attack speed faster. Very useful on the commando. But I can't think of any character where it's a bad item. Alright, I'm just gonna check a little bit around this side. Go. Another chest, and there's a shrine. Okay. Power elixir, basically an emergency heal if your health gets too low. Alright. Yes. Okay. So, speaking of those lunar coins and lunar items, there is a shrine up here that once I activate it, when we get it after we kill the boss, and I'll just activate it because we don't need to do anything immediately, but when we kill the boss for this one, it'll give us the option of going straight into the teleporter or into an area called the Bazaar Between Time. So that is basically an area where I can buy those lunar items, and it also has a secret way to get into an area where that's high risk, high reward called the Void Cells. So just think on which one we want to do after we've fought in this boss. Here we go. Oop, wrong button. Big thing to watch out for this guy is between his punches, he's also got a laser that will hurt if you don't take cover, because he just keeps firing and it tracks very aggressively. Alright, alley-oop. I think we might be fine with it. Ah, one of the healing enemies. No. Where are you? There. That one. Ah. There we go. It does look like we got him killed. Alright. Ah. Squid polyps. It's not a bad item, but it's kind of limited in its use. Basically, anytime I use an item, either opening a chest, turning on the teleporter, activating a drone, it spawns a temporary squid turret, but its HP constantly goes down as long as it's out. So if you're in, say, the final boss fight, it is completely useless because you can't use it with anything. But do we want to go towards the next area directly, or do we want to go to the bazaar? Try to use my turret by default. I don't have that anymore. Alright, into the bazaar we go. On the upside, as long as we're in the bazaar, time stands still. So we can kind of take our time browsing if we'd like. The void cells used to have that, but they patched it out because people were using it to basically get a buff to their power without having the difficulty go up any further while they were grinding it. Yep, so he is just... that's the owner of the bazaar. So we can either get these different items here. I know this one has a case where it gives a buff, but any sort of proc item you have, it reduces the chance of it. This one is the... you know, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't actually know what most of these items do because I don't use lunar items. But if any of them look pretty to you, give me a holler and I'll grab it. While people mull over that, though, we also have... if we give any 3 items, we can get this item. Same thing for this one. This one is an item where if I kill an enemy, I briefly get a speed boost. This one is called Dio's Friend. It's basically a +1 life thing. If I die once, it gets consumed and it lets me go elsewhere. You can also attack him, but do it too much and he'll kick you out of the bazaar. Alright, Okala, while you're here, any of these look pretty enough for me to grab them? Granted, 2 of them are the same item, but... they are lunar items. They are basically items that are... they will give a strong positive, but also a strong negative. They're usually, like, the benefit is usually stronger than a normal item, but, like, for example, again, I think this one boosts crit damage or something to that effect, but it also reduces your proc chance for other items that have, like, a percentage chance to go off. There's another that's, like, a glass blade, which is not one of the ones here, but like you'll do 50% more damage, but your max HP will always be 50% of what it was, or what it could be. Or another one where if you have items, their cooldown is massively reduced, but it will now have them automatically go off as soon as their cooldown's off each time. There's another one where it's like, oh, if you use an item, it randomly will also make another item activate. But I have not used these items enough to know which ones do which, so it is entirely down to vibes and looks. Bug one? Alrighty. What's the bug do? Ah! All of my health is now shields. That works well enough. I'm curious if my punch shield works the same way. But I don't think regular health regen works quite the same way. Alright, We also have two options for... Okay, we have three options, actually, for where we want to go. We can go directly to the next map, which is, just the standard map. We can go to the Golden Shores, which is a kind of special boss map. Time is stopped and enemies keep coming out unlimited, but there are 7 pylons, and once we activate them, they spawn the boss. The boss can only be fought as long as all the pylons are lit, and if any of them go back off, he becomes invincible, and you have to beat him that way. But the boss drops a very powerful item where instead, every time you start fighting a boss, it spawns him on your side. And lastly, the other option we've got is if we hop down this hole here, there's something called the Void Cells. The Void Cells are basically a prison designed to hold a lot of the more dangerous things here. It has 9 cells we have to unlock, which is basically hold out in an area for a certain amount of time and you're guaranteed to get a choice of items. But each time you do it, new monsters get added to the pools of what can spawn, and the monsters themselves start getting items that they can use. But if you do so, if you get all the way through it, you'll get a guaranteed red quality item, which is the highest you can get. The other danger, though, is you have to stay inside those the cells because the area outside it is toxic. So, between the regular map, the Golden Shores, or the Void Prison, what do we think we want to go to? Golden Place or regular? Let's try the Golden Place. Alrighty. Just head back on through the portal. If I don't overshoot myself there. Alright. Off to an early start. These are, lizard elders. They like their, hello. They like their flamethrower sprays. And greater wisps. They like to snipe you from off the map. I have lost many games to them. So he's gonna die first. He's up next because he's healing the other guy. Okay, looks like the shield it just stacks to the existing shield I've got. Alright. Let's get some of the items around here. Yeah, these things we need to use money to activate because gold is a very big thing around here. But this is also locked away because the guy that's locked in here was basically the finest work of some of the inhabitants of the planet, but also they couldn't control it, and they feared it would become too powerful. Which is why he's not a fan of the final boss when he shows up. But we'll see that if we manage to get to it. Also, there's the squid polyp, but they only last as long as their HP does. Any other chests around here, or do we just start purchasing these? Okay. 82 gold. We're probably going to want to grind a little bit of money before starting this, because the boss will show up once you've started opening up a certain number of them, even if you're not finished, and he is invincible until all of them are lit. So let's make sure you've got enough to activate all 7 of them. Let's see. Any other chests? I think the missile drone might be stuck. That's okay, he'll be fine next round. He's stuck on a dead body. Okay. Not quite sure what's up with that. Oh well. one's 89, and we need 7 of them. One sec. Apologies, just had to check on something. There we go. Alright, I think we're probably good to get started on this at least. Surprised we haven't gotten a single use item yet. I guess we'll have to wait till we get to the next map to use those keys. So I'm pretty sure they can't spawn in here. Almost there. Take that one. Yep, there he is. So we just want to make sure we get the rest of these activated. And they will deactivate after a certain amount of time, so you have to be kind of quick on things. But as is, I can't actually hurt him yet. Until I do this. Alrighty. He is admittedly basically the Stone Colossus, but golden with a sword. But he hits very hard. So, but that's why we want him on our side. Get over here. So he's going after the drones instead of me, which is a good thing because there's not a lot of cover out here. Almost. There we go. Alrighty. Now we're going to have him along the ride for any boss fight we have. Grab that, and let's see what next map it drops us at. And yes, I do get the little antennae because I took the bug. There we go. And this was the next place we could have chosen from anyway, so good start. And the time did not go up at all while we were in there, so okay, this guy I can't actually use until I get another piece of equipment. Or a piece of equipment, period. But basically they'll use whatever item you stick in them. Which, some things it is more useful, like the missile battery. Other things, like the armor fruit doesn't help super well because it affects them, not you. Almost. Yeah. Yeah, they're more of that living tar. They're just inside inside clay jugs, basically. I thought I saw an imp just a second ago. Okay, just a beetle there. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, so these ones we have Cola, which just boosts your sprint speed. Fireworks, anytime you use an item, kind of like the squid turret, it'll shoot out a bunch of missiles. Or the Masterwork Lenscraft. And they basically, yeah, Lensmaker's glasses. They give you plus 10 chance to do a critical hit. They do in fact stack, and they stack linearly, so if you get 10 of those, all of your hits are now crit hits. Congratulations. Unless you're Railgunner, because she doesn't crit hit. Delicate Watch is kind of the inverse of the emergency potion we got, where we get a damage boost, but if our health ever gets low enough, it breaks and becomes unusable. And then we've got... Go away. These, when you put money... There we go, our first item. Hey, we got the... We're just going for a full bug theme, huh? Because now we get wings we can use to fly. At least for a short amount of time. But yeah, these, there's no guarantee you'll get an item out of them each time you put money in, but it does guarantee that at least the last one you do before it exhausts it will be an item. So let's try and get some more of those. Yard. Alright, that should be good enough. Yeah, offer to the shrine, get nothing. Gotta keep going until that one's exhausted. Alright, roll the pennies. Basically, if I get hit, at least I get money out of it. Alright, these are 3D printers. They'll print the item, but they will take randomly one item of the same quality, unless you use the scrapper, which lets you basically grind down an item at random into scrap. But anytime you do have scrap in your inventory, the 3D printer will use that. It'll always pick that as the material to make it out of. That being said, the banner that comes out of that's not super useful. It basically, if you level up, you get a banner put down with a radius that will buff you, although it'll also do it anytime you activate a boss fight, because people kept mentioning in the first game it was so situational. If you had your choice between that and any other item, you'd always pick the other item. Alright, let's see if there's any chests up here. There's an equipment item, but no, I want the wings, thank you very much. Admittedly, the wings aren't as much of a boon on the loader because she's got the grappling hook, but still, if you just need to go straight up, it's very helpful. Alright, have a good one, Akala. Anything else worth anything around here? I'm not going to be using this, but I'll at least explain what that is. That is a Shrine of the Woods. You put money towards it, it puts down a healing aura that gets... You can do it up to 3 times and increase the radius. But unless you're a boss area, it's usually not that useful. Unless you're the engineer, you don't want to be hunkering down too much. Alright. Oddly shaped opal. Basically, damage... on a cooldown, the first time you're hit, you'll take reduced damage because this will absorb some of it. The more of them you have, the more damage it'll absorb. And then it goes on a cooldown timer before it comes back up. Grab that. Grab that. Alright, we can see where the teleporter is. Just gonna check up on that mountain over there and see if there's anything worth anything. Nope, we'll take the quick way. Still haven't found that lockbox. I might search for it during the boss fight. When you activate the boss and the timer's still going, you can't open chests anymore, but you can find chests somewhat easily. Okay, we're not going to go back to the bazaar. We've already done that once. 2 different shrines to it, really? Alright. But yeah, we've already... It'll highlight any chest to show that they are locked, which ends up making it easier to find ones that you missed. Alright, yep, there we go. You can also get different items here. I think... Yeah, basically you can call in a bunch of drones, you can get a thing that lets you auto-buy a chest, and you get ones that let you... a little healing thing you can deploy on allies, but I think the wings are probably our best choice for right now. Alright, crowbar is... it just makes it where if an enemy has more than 90% of their max health, they'll take additional damage. So if you've got something like my punch or the railgun or sniper thing, you can do a lot of damage to the first hit on an enemy. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with. I'm thinking Imp. Yep, there we go. Imp Overlord. But we've got backup. The Imp likes teleporting and bleed a lot, so I'm going to try and stay away from his claws if we can. But he'll also shoot spikes that cause bleeding. Ow. There we go. Did we get Shatter Spleen, or did we get... okay. You got Chronobauble, not a bad item. Enemies get slowed when I hit them when I use that. Well, that... Oh, I forgot that's... Okay, let's see. Is that the lockbox? No, that's a chest. Alright. Nope. Alright, I'll grab that before I head out, and let me see if I can find that lockbox anywhere. Excuse you, whoever shot me. That is just an equipment drone. Putting an equipment... Getting the, call-in drones and then putting that on an equipment drone might not be a bad idea. Oh, hello, I think that's the lockbox. It is! Alright. That, and that's the... Okay, chest. So we're gonna have to grab a couple things after the timer runs out on that. I do like the little effect that if you're out of the range of the teleporter, the music gets all muffled. It's just a neat touch. There we go. Oh, it's a healing soda machine. Wrong item. Ah, well. Down? I think so. Alright. There we go. Okay. Grab that. Fireworks. Grab that. Red Whip. Just moves faster out of combat. Not super useful, but an item's an item. Grab our wings back. Actually found that chest that was over here. There it is. Hey, where did the equipment turret go? Did it already get destroyed? Oh, no, there it goes. Alright. On to the next area. Alrighty. There's a Gup. Gups are your classic asteroid enemy. You kill them, they break apart into smaller ones. They also like doing that. And those are basically banelings. Are you just gonna keep calling down vending machines? Okay. Okay, grab that. Turrets. Basically drones, but they don't move. Still useful. And that there's just a shrine that summons enemies. It's mostly for if you just want some extra money quickly. There's also a blood shrine where you just take a hit to your health and you get money. Don't use those ones as often. That shrine. What now? Admittedly, if you've got both squid polyps and fireworks going at the same time, having a shrine like this can actually be oddly useful in thinning out a horde because you just have bullets and stuff flying everywhere when you keep using it. Alright. Hello? There we go. Go away. Wow. 4 bad rolls in a row. But it is always guaranteed to, if it before it exhausts, give a payout, so we're gonna keep pulling on that lever, dagnabbit. In the meantime, though, let's look around this map here. Never heard of a self-destructing medic enemy before. Hey, we've got another lockbox. Ooh, there we go. Alright, ceremonial dagger. Basically, every time I kill an enemy, it makes a bunch of homing ghost daggers that will chase after other enemies. Ooh. That is a flamethrower drone. Let's grab him. Or sorry, incinerator drone. Okay, I think we got enough for another pull at the shrine. Yeah, now we definitely do. Alright. There we go. I'll say much better loader players than I can just get up to some crazy, there we go, armor-piercing rounds. Basically just does extra damage to a boss. But yeah, more experienced loader players can get away with a lot more aerial maneuverability that I can pull off. I mostly just know the use the charge punch to redirect yourself trick. Although you can get away with at least some with the slam things, it just immediately sends you down. Oh, there's the teleporter. Alrighty, grab that. Hey, there's the Hunter's Harpoon. Same thing we saw in the shop before. Just gonna check to see if there's anything back here before we turn that on. Okay, no, it doesn't look like it. Let's maybe get the gup away from it. Because I don't feel like dealing with him and the boss. I do have to wonder how the Aurelia Knight's going to fit down here, though. It's a little cramped for him. How's the bit rate, by the way? I know Risk of Rain can be kind of a visually loud game. Just making sure Twitch can actually handle it decently. Oh boy, so these are the guys that normally would show up in the desert area we were in. Yeah, more of the parasitic tar, but if they get low enough on health, they just hunker down and start stealing the health from everything around them, allies included, to try and just out health steal their way through it. So they also get their... They will try and steal health from you, too. Oh! It doesn't do anything on me, though, because my health's all shields. Oh, that's actually... The bug was a good call. Alright. Yeah, so at higher levels also, you'll sometimes, even without using Shrine of the Mountain, get more than one boss. Although, they will only drop one if it's not done specifically through the Shrine of the Mountain. However, Runald's Band is one of the best items I could get for Loader. Basically, anytime an enemy takes a bunch of damage, they will, at least on a certain cooldown, that big icicle that showed up will basically explode on them, and then that little thing down the bottom left over my HP is the cooldown on it. There's a matching fire one that you can also get, but those are very good for characters that do heavy single hits, like either the bandit, the loader, or the railgunner. Basic attacks usually won't set it off, but your, charge attacks and stuff usually will. Alright, we're at Sky Meadows, and the place with the best music in the game. This is the area we can go to try and fight the final boss, or we can loop back around and do earlier stages over, but now with harder enemies if we want to try and build up even more strength. Although naturally, the difficulty will also go up. Like, we're already at Insane, but Insane is not the max difficulty we can get it at. So do we want to go straight for the boss, or do we want to go for doing another loop? Also, a little secret area you can get. Those mutators you have to unlock, and how you do that is... Just get these guys knocked out real quick. Don't quite have enough money for that. Still a little short. How about you? There we go. Hidden underneath this. Might need to go towards the other side. Yeah. This area down here. Went to the wrong side. You can find on each of the maps a slab that will have either all or part of a code sequence of symbols. And if you put the correct one in, it'll activate whichever, it's like the one right here. Make sure that they're the right shape. I'll get to you in a sec, buddy. We'll activate a portal that lets you try and unlock the respective mutator. And I've already got all of them, so we're not going to hop into there right now, but that's just generally how you get it to activate. Usually by falling down that hole there. But I'm a little more mobile than needing to use that, so we're just going to head back up topside. Right, we've also already got Aurelionite, so I'm not going to bother with the gold shrine over there. Normally, instead of going through the bazaar, how you get to him is you pay at that shrine there. I don't like these guys. I don't like these guys at all. Go away. I missed him. Oh, dear. Alright. Monster Tooth, as it says, when you kill enemies, they drop little healing orbs. Give you a little bit more sustain. More rolls of pennies, so me getting beat on will give me a bit more money. I'm a little short. Just to set somebody on fire. Yeah, there it is. Oh! I forgot about you. Ow. Okay, now we're gonna need to deal with you sooner rather than later. Ah! Gotta get him. Not quite, but almost. Oh, woo! Okay. Flew a little far off the map there. Where's that chest I was after again? No. Well, I thought I was going after, but I'll take this one. Shipping request form. That would have been so much more useful if it was not on the level right before the final boss. Basically, it will make a shipping container spawn on the following level through like a crash ship that has a choice of 2 items, and usually at least one of them will be minimum rare quality. You still have to buy them, but it's just basically you have the chance of getting those items that way. Another squid polyp. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else worth grabbing here? There's the teleporter. Let's see who we're dealing with up here. That is the thing. Sometimes instead of just regular bosses, you just get a whole bunch of special enemies all at once. In this case, a whole bunch of the fire versions of these guys. But a Rally Knight helped trivialize that one a little bit. Ooh. Leech Seed. Basically gives me health steal on all of my attacks. Granted, it is like 1 HP per hit. It's not a whole lot, but it adds up. You know what? Fine. We'll buy a refreshing cola just to get the turret down. Oh. I should probably grab that before I go. On the upside, having a Rally Knight's going to make the final boss significantly easier. But he will not show up in the first phases for reasons. Okay. I'll go with the random one. None of those other ones are particularly impressive. There we go. Shuriken. I finally have a ranged attack. On cooldown, my basic attack will also throw shurikens at whatever I'm looking at. There we go. To the moon. Which direction? There it is. That really broken one. It's a bit of a hike, so we're just gonna... Uh-oh. Nope. Anyway, vets are right off. Except it's protected by a force field. So we gotta figure out what to... Whoa! Whoa! Physics, please. Calm down. But yeah, we gotta find a way to get that shield off of our ship. But the lunar enemies aren't super happy about us being here, so... We have gotten here a little bit quicker than I normally do, so... Not as annoying. Let's grab that. Okay. I guess maybe there's a chance that ship will show up here. If the, there it is. Question mark and fungus. I'll go question mark, because bustling fungus is useful only if you're sitting there not moving. Yeah, armor-piercing rounds is probably better. An Old War stealth kit just makes you invisible when your health gets too low. So to activate these, we've got 4 pillars we're going to need to activate. This one is pillar of mass, so the more things that are inside... For that. The more things that are inside the radius, the faster it charges. So obviously you want to stay in it, but if enemies are here too, that's better. That being said, these guys being in here is not great because they just explode and leave fire all over the floor. Ow. Refreshing beverage, help me. Did you heal the squid polyp instead of me? Ah. Almost done. Okay, that one's done. Usually there's something else called Pillar of Soul and Pillar of Blood, but it's slightly randomized, so let's see. Oh, similar to the Bazaar, there's also a place where it's like, alright, last chance, you can turn in a random number of items of a certain quality for the guaranteed items they're presenting there. So like I could get Rose Buckler, which has been oh so helpful on this run. Brainstalk, I believe that one makes it where you can get elite enemy abilities, and I already have this one, so I'm just going to stick with what I got. Which pillar is this? Pillar of Design. Oh, it keeps forcing you out. And you got to try and stay in it for as long as you can. Ah. Grappling hook, keep me in. Oh god, not there though. I think I've ever actually had that pillar before. Okay, that one's done. So we're just gonna vamoose. Why do they keep wanting Rose Buckler? Uh-oh. Ah! Up we go. Up top or inside, or am I looking the wrong? I'm looking the wrong way. I am best gamer. Come on. Amazing skills. Alright. There we go. Okay, these are not blood ones at least. Let's see, what's this? Pillar of Soul, yeah. Fairly standard, just stay in it and it charges up, but if you leave, it uncharges very quickly. tedious as well. Yep. Please don't hit me. Alright. Now I can get at you. Yeah. I am missing that turret, though, just a little. Ah. Excuse you. Alright. Another pillar of soul. Just try and take cover behind this. Meantime. Okay, all those are done. So now, the boss is actually something we can deal with. After I get up on these guys. Actually, with that, with the vending machine dropping, I actually can get some use out of squid polyps for the boss fight. No, incinerator drone, get back up. Alright, there we go. When in doubt, look for the big pillars of light. Yeah, this guy doesn't like us very much. Mainly because in the last game we killed his brother. Well, not us, but humans. Not that they liked each other very much either. He was sealed on the moon for a reason. And he just asked me to beg. It is kind of difficult to spot during this, but he does say commentary in the chat log in the bottom left. Luckily, though, we got to him relatively early, so he's not as dangerous as he could be. But he can still pack a wallop. And he has multiple phases. Ah. Not my squid turret. Leave it alone. You know, throw me out of the arena there. Bleed. He seems like a pleasant guy. Phase 2. That's what he calls in his buddies. You just have to kill enough of these guys. Which, they're not quite as nasty as he is, so they're not as much of an issue. Geronimo! There. Go. And now he's coming back again. What you got to say to us this time? Pray. Certainly an interesting variation of Eat, Pray, Love, but alright. Frail and soft. Stop doing the anime teleport crap. Come on. Stop beating up on my robots. I mean, I know I've been beating up on yours, but... Rake beneath me. Now is the time for fear. I was joking about the anime stuff, but... I certainly got the speeches of anime going. Ow. Oh boy. You done? Nope. Done now? Inferior construct broke. Oh, because he killed all my drones. Weak, your body will shatter. Bleed again. Alright. Alright. Almost on phase 4, I guess. Yep. So this phase is the part where he steals all our items. Which is why making a death stack build can be a bit of an issue. He is weaker, technically, but... However, he cannot steal Aurelionite because it very much does not like him. Ow! Oh god! Oh, that hurt. Alright, where's your influence? And the Guardian, impossible. The Guardian being... Aurelionite. Yeah, we can, thankfully, punch our items back out of him. Which is what I'm going to try and do as much as possible. But if you don't have Aurelionite, this fight gets much, much harder. Blue! At least I couldn't be punched out of the arena. There's the barrier there. Otherwise, that would have punched me out of the arena. Come on. Come on. Oh, what are you doing? I don't like it. I don't like it. You punched yourself. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I thought his hammer is a lot weaker. There we go. The plane grows dark, brother. I cannot see you. Where are you? Well, he's been dead since the last game, so... Alright. Anyway, since he's a sore loser, the moon blows up in 3 minutes. So we need to get back to that spaceship. But meanwhile, the place is exploding, void enemies start showing up, and we have to hold out. Including one enemy type that has an instant kill. Like that one. If he dies, they implode. If you're in that implosion, you die, no questions asked. Blah. Alright, so now we gotta hold out till this thing's up. Thankfully, I do have my little drone army here to help a little bit. Ah! Dagnabbit, void crap. Squid Polyp, I'm sorry I made fun of you. Y'all legitimately being useful here. At least so long as I got the vending machines coming down. Come on. Can't actually do anything to him in that range. So can't waste time going outside of it when the timer's that close. Ah! Okay, time to get out. Alrighty. She actually has one of the more optimistic endings, because most of them are stuff like, and so he left no longer recognizable as human, or so she left her soul still back behind on the planet kind of thing. For the loaders, they just end up being adrenaline junkies. Alright, so that was a decent run. But would we like to try and go for the alternate boss run? And would we like turning on any artifacts? Or going with any other characters? Alrighty, escape this experiment. Alrighty. Acrid. Spits poison. Now, the poison can't actually kill enemies, although you can get blight. Where it does less damage, but it can kill. Vicious wounds. This is primary. Yeah, most of his attacks do poison in some extent. Yeah, and every third hit he can heal off it. He can spit at them, or he can bite. He's got 2 different types of leap. One of which is poison. The other reduces cooldown if you manage to land multiple enemies. And then epidemic, which spreads through enemies. And then he's got... This is his default for the game. And that's his albino one. Alright. What difficulty do we want it at, and what artifacts do we want, if any? Alright. I'm gonna bump it up to... Well, okay. We'll do Rainstorm. I usually do Monsoon, but just... I don't use Acrid that much, so we'll stick with that. And... Yeah, we'll go without mutators again for now. Or artifacts. Although, right before we do anything, I'm just gonna grab... one thing. There we go. Sorry. Also, you notice, as opposed to coming down on a lander, he was always here. Well, he'd been here since the last game, so he just wakes up out of his void cell that you break him out of to unlock him. So we got bites, we got spit, we got jumps, and we've got, if I can find an enemy for it, might be able to hit him here. Infectious. And I missed. Oh, that hurts. Let's get some health back. Oh, this might be a very quick run. Alright, I'm good to give that another shot unless we want to reroll it again. Yeah, let's give it another shot. Alright. That was me just feeling my way out, and, I think I will try and go for the void thing this time. Let's see what we get. Weeping Fungus, that actually will be useful for us. So normally Bustling Fungus is, if you don't move, you place a healing aura around you that gets stronger and bigger the more stacks you have. Weeping Fungus does the opposite, where you instead heal so long as you're running. Although it only affects you, your allies can't get anything out of it. But and any bustling fungus I get will be automatically converted into weeping. Oddly shaped opal again. I keep missing with that. Of course, it's the one that has the longest cooldown. But that one basically lets me, that. Alright. Hey, hit him that time. Yeah, and a lot of poison stuff, it can get them almost to death, but it will never finish them off. You usually have to do that manually. But it's a great way for weakening crowds and enemies. Although, if there's no one else around, they're only so useful. That's how we got him. What we got? Squid polyps. Alright, after that last game, I'm not going to insult you, squid polyps. I know when to eat my words. Now, he does have fall damage, but he can't activate it if he's doing his jump. Let's see. Ah, Molotov. Exactly what it sounds like. Probably should have started off with the poison there. Alright, tougher times. Just gives a flat 14% chance of any attacks hitting you to just not. The higher you get, the more that chance increases, although it's not linear, so like by 10 stacks you'll do 60, but you'll need like 200 to get 90. Which, very unlikely you're going to get that unless you're playing with the one where you can choose your items. And even then, 200 items in any run is a stretch unless you're actively farming. Okay. I wonder if that'll hit him. Hey, it did. Nice. Let's get the drone up. Yeah. Molotov, go! Aha. Backup magazine. Alright, so I get extra spit. And I got extra spit. Ain't worth anything up here. In the last game, one of his big things was he could lay down slime all over the ground that let him move a lot faster and get health regen while he was on it. But obviously that works better in a 2D game as opposed to a much wider 3D game. So they went with a leap instead. Okay, oddly shaped opal. Well, yeah, let's go with these. Get some extra health out of it. Ow. There's that fall damage in action. It's keys. Keys are the same thing I got, so we'll go with keys, I guess. Grab that. quick chance. Quick look, make sure there's nothing else we're missing. Otherwise, that's the teleporter right there. A shrine this time, but... Crowbar. Not super useful on Acrid, but hey, oh, there we go, there's something we missed. Oh, there's a chest there too. Let's go with sticky bombs. Basically, chance when you hit an enemy to leave a bomb on them that'll eventually detonate for a percentage of your attack. If you get 20 of them, it becomes a guaranteed proc. Alright, but I think that's everything. I should have aimed higher for those jumps to go longer. Alright. Who do we have? Wandering Vagrant. Oh boy, the exploding jellyfish. These guys' whole thing is when they get low enough on health, they will just nuke the entire area. Which is not great if you don't have cover, like we have here. So can I hit him with that? Can! Alright, set him on fire. Spread the poison. If he starts charging up, I am going to have to just make a break for it, because I have no real way to mitigate it. I also do not have gasoline, so I can't use these guys for fire. That's the charge up. We're taking cover, because that hits hard. Although if you're lucky, the boss drop he gets will be a thing that lets you do the same thing. Speak of the devil. Ah. There we go, Shrine of the Mountain. Alright, we are also going to need to go to the Bazaar to get to the alternate boss. There's technically another way you can do it, but it's a lot longer to get to. So let's see, can I get up there? Ah. So I gotta get up to the top there where that shrine usually is to get to the Bazaar. Oh, there's one there. That'll be a little easier. Oh, did I lose my drone? I did. Boo. Oh, let's grab that. It'd be really nice if you were a feather. No. Lepton Daisy. That one makes it where when you fight a boss, after a certain amount of time, a big, like, healing wave comes out from it. Sort of as a little, shot in the arm partway through to help. Alrighty. Grab that. Oh, another Shrine of the Mountain. Here goes for bad choices. With my luck, it's going to be another Rose Buckler, but... Grab him. Yeah, you gotta go. We got Red Whip. Not super useful. It only gives the speed buff when you're not fighting anything or taking damage, but better than nothing. Power Elixir. I'm just kind of not getting particularly good drops this run. Besides the Void Fungus or Weeping Fungus. I'm gonna go for the Tri-Daggers. They're kind of like the Sticky Bomb, except they give a chance to cause bleed on hit. And get 10, and you will have guaranteed bleed on hit. Which is very nice. Ah! No, stop that. Try and finish off that guy as much as I can. Because Elder Wisps are no joke. Chests around here. There's one. Teleporters nearby because I can see the particles in the air. Got those. We got no. Game. Alright. Anything else in... Something over there. Can you spread to your healer, buddy, so I can knock him off too? Overshot it. Started. 4 Stone Titans. Not great. Not great. We're just gonna try and let the damage over time deal with them a little bit. Well, I should probably be running to get my own healing going. Please don't try and punch me from under the ground. I'd greatly appreciate that if you didn't. Get moved. Block. Ow. Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. Out of the way, out of the way, out of the way. One of them's dead. Working on the second one. Boy, that poison not being able to finish off enemies' bites. There's the healing thing from the flower. Yeah, go other way, other way. Oh, shoot. Of course I jumped behind cover right before that went off. how long the cooldown on that is. Anyway. Fire, finish them off, please. Who's left? Oh. There we go. Ooh, alright. Near useless, just makes me jump farther forward. This, however, is just boost my health and my health regeneration. I will take it. Get where we need to go. It's a little trickier with Acrid than it is with the loader, but we can probably manage it. Because I do have fall damage now. I think we can get enough HP coming back. Drop down. Ow. There we go. That's where we're looking. Ow. On the one hand, it would be good against groups. On the other, not super good if we can't move around too much, which may be a bit of a liability in the area we're going to. Alright, so, thing about this, as long as I'm inside this little sphere here, I'm fine. I don't take any damage. I step outside, though, I immediately will start taking damage. And once I activate these, it will also start closing after it finishes, so here we go. Alright. Mostly these guys. These are the only enemies that will spawn for this round. And the only enemies that can show up are ones that are part of whatever gets added each round. Usually it's only about 3 enemy types, but they all start getting added items, which can make them start becoming very strong depending on what items they are and what enemies get them. Like Gups with tougher times, very bad combo. It's like, oh, they have a much higher chance to not take any damage at all, and then when you finally do, they'll split into other guys who all also have a high chance of not taking anything. And God help you if they also have the medic kit. Alright, so, you get a choice. I'm gonna go with a shield. Just a little more health, or a little bit more protection, rather. Which is gonna be useful because we have to race towards whatever area we're in to get to the next one. Oh boy! Alright, so these guys now all have 5 stacks of tri-daggers. There's a 50% chance when they hit me of causing bleed. And I'm stuck in a small area where they have a high chance of hitting me. Uh-oh. Oh, I forgot we had the flower in here. That does apply to these, thankfully. Uh-oh. Did not realize you were under the bed, buddy. I will be with you in just a moment. Ow, ow, ow. Blood, not like... Okay, actually, I'm just going to just step away for just a moment, as the cat has decided now is the time he needs to come over. So, one moment. Let me just get my hands back on and we'll be right back into it. His Highness has vacated the premises. Okay, and we're back. Alright, let's see what we got. I will go with Goat Hoof, just so we can move quicker through this. Alright. Same as on the moon, Pillars of Light's where we want to go. I forgot speed affected the jump. Grab that while I'm thinking about it. Alright, shipping request. Not super useful now, but it will in the future. And is that what I think it is? Okay, Beetle Guard have been added. Oh boy, that's not good. That's very not good. Okay, keep going. Just avoid him, just avoid him. There we go. Dead. There you go for damage. Alright. Probably should get the medkit next time, but... Oh boy, overshot. Yeah. Be careful with that now. Okay. Oh, so they do crit damage now too. Alright. Could be worse, but it's still not great. Bustling fungus. Wisps. Ah. Actually was useful. Yes, double jump. We'll absolutely take that. Got some height on him now. Okay. Shield back. Okay, that's actually fairly okay on the enemies. They become invisible for a little bit. That's... Yeah, there we go. Fruit the Strikes heal. Oh, hello. What we got here? Go with stun. Grab that. Activate. Ah, these little flying assholes. Alright. Yep. Keep going. Ah, there we go. Alright. Well, we can either make another go at it, or it has been 2 hours, we can maybe call it here. I think probably going to go with the latter for right now. Maybe take another go at going for the alternate boss another time. Although, alternatively, you can give another game a go next time. But we'll find out what we go with there in the future. In the meantime, have a good night, everybody.